Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. Toy Story! The first fully animated CGI film, this was the starting point for Pixar, who showed everyone what was possible with the technology. As the company continued to expand and improve, they kept coming back to the film that put them on the map, creating not just 1 or 2 sequels to Toy Story, but 3, as well as shorts, a spin-off series starring Buzz Lightyear, tons of merchandise, and of course, attractions for it at Disneyland. The films have also garnered critical acclaim, each one having been nominated for Oscars, with the most recent one also winning Best Animated Feature at the 92nd Academy Awards. With everything that the movies have achieved, I had to start asking myself, which Toy Story movie do people think is the best one? And then I thought, fuck that, this is all about me. Which Toy Story movie do I think is the best? So join me as I rank the Toy Story films from worst to best. This is Pecking Order. I guess I should start the list with the one that most people overlook, Toy Story 4.
How can people overlook Toy Story 4? It's the most recent one that has come out.
Well, let me enlighten you. Up to this point, Toy Story had been a very solid experience, meaning that no matter what happened, you knew the film was going to do well, win a bunch of awards, and be loved by pretty much everyone. While it definitely won its fair share of awards and did fantastically at the box office, it wasn't that perfect experience many associated with the series. During the Golden Globes, the film lost to The Missing Link, which seems mind-blowing to think that Toy Story would lose out to a film that really didn't do so hot at the box office, let alone not get near the unanimous praise that Toy Story got by critics. During the Annie Awards, Toy Story lost to Klaus, which had begun to build some traction, and many thought was going to win the Oscar. While Toy Story 4 ultimately won, it was one of the more exciting moments at the Oscars that year, thinking that Pixar would end up losing for a second year in a row, and a Toy Story film at that. Did people finally have enough? Was the series starting to become stale even if the reviews weren't reflecting it? My take on it starts with the same question that everybody asked themselves when the film was first announced. Did this movie need to exist? Was our life just not complete without this one in it? Especially with how perfect of an ending people consider number 3 to be. And the answer to that is no. This was a sequel for sequel's sake. Maybe they were trying to show that they could top themselves with the previous one, but in the process they made what I truly consider to be the weakest Toy Story film. Now that's not to say that the film doesn't have good material in it, it does. It has a lot of fantastic stuff. Its characters are great, especially Key and Peele as these stuffed animals that were, honestly, my favorite part of the movie. Keanu Reeves as stuntman Duke Kaboom was great as well. I liked how the film's villain wasn't your traditional bad guy, just wanting to be loved like the other toys. But where the film starts to lose focus, it's in its returning characters. Maybe it's because the cast is so bloated now, but a lot of the fan favorites felt like they were an afterthought, as if they had no idea what to do with them, but since they're part of the series, might as well include them. The ending was also a letdown, and not because I hated what they were doing with it, but because it was also underwhelming. I remember reading an article where Tim Allen said he couldn't stop crying while filming the final scene due to how emotional the ending was, and I was excited for the feels to reach me. Yet when the ending came, all Melinda and I could do was go, "Oh."
I guess that's it.
Okay. I guess. I also hate the fact that the great ending to the last film, where Andy hands off Woody, who he was planning on taking to college with him, yeah, I thought that was weird too, is completely undermined by the fact that in the next film, he's pretty much forgotten. Can you imagine what Andy would say to that? Hey, sport, how's it going?
Oh, look, I got a new toy.
Oh, that's great. Say, where's Woody at?
Who?
Woody, you know, the toy that I told you to take care of for me because he meant so much to me? Woody? You know, he's a cowboy. He has a string on his back, and when you pull the string, he says things like, "Oh, there's a snake in my boot." Woody!
Oh, yeah. I lost him a long time ago.
What? You lost him? But he meant so much to me. I told you so.
Yeah, but look, I got a new toy.
A fork. You replaced Woody with a freaking fork? Oh, God. Oh, God, what have I done? I should have taken him with me. Why did I think a child could take care of my toy? What have I done? Oh, God, what have I done?
You need to get laid, mister.
Okay, yeah, she's a kid, so of course she's not gonna stay attached to any one toy for a long period of time, but god damn it, that's why they shouldn't have shown anything that happened afterwards. Now, every single time I see that emotional scene from the end of the third one, I'm gonna go, okay, so what? Who cares? She's just gonna throw him away in the next one anyway. Anyway, let's move on to one that is definitely gonna stand the test of time, Toy Story. Okay, yeah, it's a little rough around the edges now, but okay, yeah, so I mean, it's a little tough to look at now. Okay, give it a break, okay? It was literally the first of its kind, literally, and it accomplished so much. First, they took a premise that sounded like something from Puppet Master and actually turned it into a very cute idea. I like that the central focus is just a simple story of jealousy over someone new coming into the picture, which fits perfectly into the toy motif. It's a story that kids will understand, and it made me want to play with all of my toys evenly when I was young, since I felt bad for Woody, and I didn't want my toys to feel left out. I also like how the film doesn't have, again, a traditional villain, which is something the fourth installment did as well. Sure, there's Sid, but he's just a kid. He doesn't know the toys are alive, and he's just playing with them in his own douchey way. That doesn't make him a bad guy. And low-key, I kind of felt bad for him even when I was a kid, and how traumatized he probably became due to that experience. The movie has its funny moments and touching moments, but it doesn't do anything that previous hand-drawn films didn't do, but it didn't have to. It just had to prove that stories could be told in this style, and it definitely accomplished that. As a kid, it introduced me to these characters that would grow up with me, which I can appreciate now more than ever. But yeah, those faces are really terrifying. Maybe the humans are the real puppets. Anyway, 2 films left. So, which one gets my number 2 spot? It's tough, because at number 1, either of these films could easily fit into. They're both great. But for number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Toy Story 3. I know, this is the one that had audiences crying, the one that signified the end of an era, until they decided to continue. The third animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture. How the hell could I place it in second place? Well, to me, the third film definitely does a lot right. When it all comes down to it, I just felt the second installment was the most memorable. Sure, the third installment has that touching ending that everyone talks about, but number 2 has more scenes that I think stand out. I rarely hear people talk about anything other than the ending to number 3, but whenever number 2 is discussed, everyone has something to say about different parts of the movie. And honestly, now with Toy Story 4 and what occurred after, I think the ending of the third movie has been greatly diminished. I will say, however, I was never that big a fan of the ending to number 3. For me, the big heart shaker came when the toys were about to get incinerated. The way they held hands, accepting their fate, had people in the theater crying when I went. And I was honestly on the edge of my seat. As soon as the crane came to save them, I remember thinking, oh yeah, it's a kid's film. There's no way they're gonna kill these characters off. But the fact that they got me to doubt it for just that minute is a testament to how great the film is. That's really all I have to say about it. It has its laugh and interesting characters, but the parts that stick out are the strongest points, which is why people talk about them so much. And that's exactly why I'm putting Toy Story 2 at number 1. Now I know what you're thinking.
Jen, the only reason you remember number 2 more is because you used to see it all the time as a kid.
Actually, I hadn't seen number 2 since I was a kid. And technically speaking, number 3 is fresher in my mind than 2 is, so I think that just goes to show you what a testament and how more greatly the scenes are spread out in number 2. From the hilarious opening of Rex playing the Buzz Lightyear video game, to the second Buzz that accidentally joins the group, to the cleaning of Woody by that old guy that plays chess with himself. And of course there's Jessie, who a lot of people consider to be the best Toy Story character. At least I did for a while. There's also that great scene of Jessie's past, which is that sly way of making kids feel bad since they know they toss away toys that they don't really care about anymore. I think the later movies began to go away from that simplicity and started trying to tackle too much. But this film still felt like a simple story that people could relate to in some way. That being said, I do think the film has one big problem with it. The antagonist. Now, I'm not just talking about Stinky Pete, though we'll get to him in a minute. That greedy guy who steals Woody at the beginning of the movie just doesn't have much depth to him. He feels like he's there to just get the ball rolling whenever it needs to change locations. Even as a kid, I never really felt anything for this guy. Stinky Pete is slightly better. Like Lotso in Toy Story 3, I understand where their motives are coming from. But in the end, they turn into antagonists that have almost no redeeming qualities and get punished in the end. It's a shame because Toy Story and Toy Story 4 definitely did something unique with their antagonist that wasn't just, I'm evil. Still, that one blemish isn't enough to hurt the film, which I truly think stands at the top of the pack. Now, people have asked me if there should be a 5th Toy Story movie, that now that we've gone past the point of finality, if they should just continue the ball rolling on this series. And the answer to that is no. But I can definitely see a TV show made from it. If they had just stopped after 3, I would definitely have said they needed to stop. But with the uncertainty of the future of Woody now, I can see a show where he and Bo Peep help out toys to get to their owners or find new kids for them to go to, with maybe the occasional cut to Buzz and the gang to see what they're up to. Sounds ridiculous? Well, with avenues like Disney Plus, maybe not. I doubt we've seen the last short that with these characters, so maybe sometime soon we'll go back to see how the group is doing. And that's my ranking of the movies. And I know, it's such a perfect ranking, isn't it? But I am a generous man, so I will allow you to give me your wrong rankings in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. I will allow you to do so. And hey, have a good one while you're at it as well.